It seems like there are new cameras and equipment coming out all of the time. It gets increasingly confusing and the FOMO is real. John and I have been preaching for years that the best way to try out new gear is to rent before you buy. There is only one place that we recommend when it comes to renting, and that is our friends over at Lens Rentals. Lens Rentals is the premier source for renting not only camera equipment, but lenses, drones, projectors, and more. Do you have a big project coming up and you really need to wow your couple? Wanting to test out the newest camera before you drop thousands on it? You need Lens Rentals. My favorite thing is that if I love something I rent, I can keep it. They apply a portion of the rental fee to the purchase price, and within a few simple clicks, the gear is mine. So head over to howtofilmweddings.com/lensrentals and use promo code HTFW15 at checkout for 15% off of your order. Lens Rentals, the only place we recommend renting.
Hello and welcome to the How to Film Weddings podcast. My name is John Bunn and I'm joined today, surprise, by my best good buddy, Mr. Nick Deep Nuggets Miller. Nick, how are you, my friend?
I'm so surprised that I'm here with you.
I know.
That was bad. I'm doing really good. So much is going on right now. Still kind of recovering a little bit from our incredible Mastermind retreat that we had. John just broke, if you're watching on YouTube, we had this flag that says How to Film Weddings that I got him for Christmas, and he just knocked it off the wall. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm still kind of recovering from our Mastermind retreat that we had, getting back caught up, doing businessy things. We relaunched our Mastermind for 2022. That is live right now. If you are interested in applying for that, head over to howtofilmweddings.com/mastermind. I am leaving as we drop this week for South Africa to shoot a wedding. I'm so
excited for you.
So much is going on. I'm just doing really well. How about you?
Likewise, doing well. As this episode drops the next week, I'm heading out to New York City, New Jersey, to film a wedding for actually the best man in my wedding 16 years ago. We're going to spend a day in New York City. He's getting married in Jersey. It's going to be a ton of fun. They've given me complete freedom to do whatever I want. So that's neat. And then also, as recording this yesterday, I finally switched Redeemed Productions, my brand, over to johnbunnfilms.com. It's done. My honeybook is updated. My social media is updated. My everything is johnbunnfilms.com. Great response so far to the new website branding. If you don't follow me at John Bunn Films now, you can do that and check out my website because I would love your feedback. It finally doesn't suck. So that's my
only
tagline.
took him 784 days from start. I don't know how long ago.
Just a quick 2-year turnaround. Here I am, switched over. But it's good. Guys, I'm doing well.
It's solid. It's so good. I think it encapsulates who John is as a filmmaker and also reaches that ideal client that is so important. And speaking of reaching ideal clients and growing your business and having killer branding and website, today we have Charles and Stephanie Axtells on the podcast. They're Mastermind students, but they are doing some incredible stuff. You guys, you need to listen for whenever Stephanie casually shares their revenue from 2021, just kind of casually throws it in there. It will make your jaw drop. That's the little dangle, the carrot for this episode. John, let's go ahead and just jump on in. What do you say?
All right, let's do it. Okay, well, we're here with Stephanie and Charles Axtells from the Axtells. Welcome to the How to Film Weddings podcast. Why don't you introduce yourself? Let us know who you are, where you're from, all that good stuff.
Yeah, thank you. Like you said, we're Stephanie and Charles. We're a husband and wife team out of Wilmington, North Carolina. We do both photo and video for weddings. And honestly, it's just this year that we became the Axtells. Before this, it was something that was Stephanie Axtells, just my name. But I figured, he's been helping me out for 4 or 5 years. I figure it's time to bring him into the name.
I finally got to put my name on it a little bit too, so it worked out.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And you all are a husband-wife team. Mm-hmm. You do both video and photo. You were part of our Mastermind group. We were out in Arizona a week ago, I guess so. Is it only? Yeah, a week and a couple of days ago.
That's crazy.
with you all after a crazy year, and I got to learn a little bit about your story and like what you're doing. You started telling me some of the revenue numbers that you're at, and I was just kind of like, the world needs to know what these two are doing, because you're doing something a little different than what I would say like most people in our industry are doing, with more of this like boutique style. People think they can do boutique or volume. I don't think you guys are either of those. I would love for you to kind of explain your brand, what it looks like, how you would describe your brand to other wedding filmmakers.
Yeah, so I think for us, our mission for wedding videos in particular, it really started with kind of the experience that we had with our own wedding. And I even tell this to a lot of my clients when I meet with them. But like when we got married, we just did not have a good experience, both on photo and at the time in 2015.
The marriage was good. It was just the photo.
But in 2015, like video just wasn't, I don't know, it just wasn't as relevant, even though I went to film school. But our mission kind of became making sure that we could give really amazing stories and really good quality wedding videos to anybody who really, reached out and wanted to work with us. And so it wasn't necessarily like we wanted to put a cap on each year of how many weddings we were going to do. We just wanted to make sure that we were talking with the right couples, talking with couples that we knew we could give them something really special and really like a treasure to keep from their wedding day. And then figuring out a way for us to make sure that we could scale it enough so that we could keep up with it, because I think 2021 for a lot of people was a learning year. I think that was where we really pushed our business from more of a boutique to kind of flirting with that volume. Because before 2021, I think in 2020, we did about 40 weddings. And then 2021, we did 73 weddings. And a huge chunk of that was just because of how many postponements we had to kind of accommodate, and how many brides and grooms were just really kind of trying to figure out what plans worked for them, and especially in a COVID world. But at the same time, too, for us, it was like we didn't want to lose anybody just because we set a limit or a cap. And if we couldn't take on new clients for 2021, it was going to really significantly hurt our business, too. And so it kind of became this like hybrid of, like you said, like a quality boutique style company, but still offering it to a lot of couples.
Yeah. So the thing I'm sitting here, as you said, so we did 40 in 2020. We did 73 last year. What are you projected to do this year?
I think we're at 65 this year right now. So right now we're at 65.
Okay, so in January for 2022, you're sitting at 65, and you could potentially, I mean, are you thinking that could even get up into like 75, 80? Like, are you prepared like to even go that high?
I think after what we went through with 2021, 73 was a good number for us. So I think 75 would be our absolute max, just to make sure that we can serve our couples to the best that we can. I think any more than 75 might be a little bit of a stretch, but we've also kind of created new rules for us to make sure that we have time for ourselves, and we have breaks throughout the year, because I think that was the most significant thing that we learned from 2021 is just how precious and how valuable our time is as business owners, and then also making sure that we can show up and do our best on wedding days.
So, yeah, I love that. And it doesn't it stink that it takes you going through a time of like complete overwhelmed, like I don't get to see my spouse, I don't get to do all this stuff to figure out, I need to like set up some stuff and change some stuff. So the question that I have, like, what does that look like? You know, you shot 70 weddings. Like, what's the workflow? What's, how many of those were photo? How many of those were video? How many of those were both? Just all, like, what does all of that look like?
I would say that, so of the 73 that we did, I'd say roughly 80% are photo and video. So when you actually look at what we're doing in a year, I'd say it's roughly about 130 like events, if we were to say, count photo and video. Gotcha. You know what I mean? Is both. Like we do a lot of them, and a lot of it comes down to just like the processes that we've put in place to make it possible to get these things out, to keep everything organized. Because like one of the things that we said is sometimes when we had to reschedule or something, it's like, all right, so first of all, can we physically make it from event to event? Like it's a Friday and a Saturday, it's 4 hours away from each other. We get done at 10. We have to be to the next wedding at noon. can we do that? It's like, well, I mean, we can get 8 hours of sleep and make it there. So that's easy. You know what I mean? And then there were other times where we drove from Ohio to Wilmington, and, that was a 8-hour drive, and we had 16 hours to make it there, so it was just kind of stuff like that to try to get it together and really plan out things really well.
Yeah. So I have I'm sitting here thinking it's like 75 events or 130 or whatever, the number. Talking with you all through Mastermind and just like doing mentorships with you all and like, okay, let's get some plans in place. Like, I think a lot of the times that like what we communicate without meaning to communicate it on how to film weddings is that like you're either going to be a boutique style where you really pay really good attention to people, or you're going to like just go all in volume and just kind of like crank out weddings. And I don't think that's what you guys are doing. From what I like, just even going to your website and looking at your brand, it's like a very high end feel. And I guess my question is like, did you have to just like pricing wise, revenue wise, if you're cool with talking about that?
Yeah.
What is that? Because I think a lot of people would be intrigued to do something more like this if they could understand a little bit how you all are doing it. So a lot of times with volume, it's like we charge $1,000 or $1,500 and we just do a bunch of them real fast, real quick. Is that how your brand is set up? I know the answer, but here's the softball.
Yeah. No, honestly, that is not at all how our brand is set up. And for us, it was, it's quality and excellence first. It was even when we joined Mastermind, one of the lessons that we learned pretty quickly with you guys is just how important your brand is and how important the message that you want to get out there is. And I think for us, we decided early on that like we will always be quality first, trying to serve our clients and our couples through excellence and as best as we can. And so with that, it was never a question of lowering our price point just to be able to pump out more or do more or turn around really quickly. Because even now, like our videos are still a good 4 or 5 months to take and process. And that's just because we also give a lot to our couples back to. It's, majority of our couples are seeing not only their highlight films, but they're seeing their ceremonies and they're seeing their messages and toasts. And some of them are even seeing, the FOMO edits or the keepsake films that they want to have back. So they're still getting a lot from us. And the first thing that we did in order to make, handle that kind of volume and handle that kind of quality is that really talk about the systems that we needed to put in place, considering outsourcing as an option too, just because, there are people who are incredibly talented editors. And if we can at least stay at the helm and drive, what we're putting out there and be kind of the creative force behind it, there's an incredible partnership to be made with people who are really good editors. And, we were introduced to Wedditor through How to Film Weddings and through Mastermind. And it's just been kind of a really cool experience.
It changed our business.
Experience. Yeah.
It completely changed our business from being like, because what it came down to is like, we would work all day. Like we would wake up at, 8 o'clock, like last year when we had the 73 weddings, we didn't have an outsourcer. We'd work all day, and Wedditor let us have a life again, is what it ended up happening.
Yeah, we kind of looked at each other. We had the same conversation. I know, Nick, you had with Jen a couple of years ago and be like, this is just going to be the year that we're going to work. Mm-hmm. And then next year we'll kind of have the systems in place so it helps us out. But really for us, it was that outsourcing that helped us raise our quality, helped us increase our prices even over the year. And revenue-wise, I think, we've still gone up 50% every year. I think, through 73 weddings, we were able to gross almost $350,000 last year. So,
and then this year doing less weddings, we're already making more.
Yeah.
Especially after Mastermind and kind of seeing that you can increase your prices more if you can continue, really like what you have.
You can continue to have a really good quality product if you have the right team members in place to kind of help you through it. Because I think that is the biggest lesson that we took away from 2021 is that you don't have to do this alone. Like you don't have to be every hat in the book, or you don't have to, wear every hat, excuse me. You can outsource and you can bring in other team members. Like I want to give a shout out to Abby, who's been our second videographer. Like she's even learning and helping us edit and helping us get through a lot more videos quickly too, just to be able to give a timely turnaround to our couples, but still produce the quality that we're producing now.
I love all that. Like, it makes me really excited for you. And it's like you've melded these two together, right? Like, where it's like you're doing more volume, but you're still doing. And if you go, like, I've been scrubbing through your site, and it's just like, it's very high quality. It's got a very luxury feel. You would, like the stigma around outsourcing, or, like, I've had people that I had work for me that I paid salary that sit in the room next door to me, and I oversaw creatively what was going on, but I didn't want to be the one doing, the editing itself. I just wanted to like give direction before the edit started, during, and after. And I had people like that working for me for years and paying salary and insurance and all this stuff. And then Wedditor came along, or other outsourcing companies, it doesn't just have to be Wedditor, but I just pretend they're in the room next door to me and they're part of my team. And it has allowed me to raise my prices and grow. And you do have to have systems in place like that. You said something, and I just want to make sure I heard it. 350,000 of revenue last year. And you said you're already on track to do more this year with less weddings. Why don't you guys talk about like what you're charging, that sort of thing, and like how you've raised your prices, maybe for people out there that are wanting to do something like this or just wanting to raise their prices. What did you guys do? What was your strategy?
Yeah, I think for us, this is the trade-off though of becoming kind of like volume based business, but still being able to offer quality. The trade-off being that, you have to pay for those additional team members. You have to pay for help. So it was really important for us to raise our prices to kind of cover those expenses of the additional team members that we're bringing on and working with us. And so the first thing that we did this past year is that we did a brand change. And it took a little while. It probably took the majority of the year to kind of finesse and get through, since we were working so many weddings and we wanted to give the priority back to our couples and make sure that they were getting their photos and videos in a timely manner. Yeah. But we changed our brand. We became the Axtells, and even working with a brand coach, which was another suggestion we got from Mastermind. Like, she really encouraged us to focus on other luxury brands. She really encouraged us. She's like, look at Louis Vuitton, or look at Remy Martin. Look at some of these brands that are kind of like the royalty or the gold, or kind of like give this power couple vibe. Because that's kind of who we want to work with and who we want to be. And so we tried to, the first step was to kind of make us fit our couples, and then start to slowly raise the prices, because it's not something that you can do overnight. But with us, I think it was every 5 weddings that were booked. And I think we just kind of walked the prices up from there. I think we went up $100, $150, $200, just depending on what we were doing. And then once we hit a certain point, like for us now being at 63 weddings for the year, it's kind of at this sweet spot where we only want to take the right couples for us. We only want to take the couples who are willing to pay what we believe to be worth. And so it's one of those things that you don't have to lower your prices in order to get more or pay the bills. Because if you focus on quality, people are just gonna they want to work with us. And it's a really amazing thing to have that feeling where people are reaching out to us now because they see our videos. Whereas in 2019, I think video was kind of like an add-on for people for our business. People came to us most for photo. But since we went through this, and since we went through this focus of really kind of becoming that high-end feel, people are finding us and they want to work with us just for video, which is great.
And I think that this year we started off with most of our last year we started off our packages were going for around $4,000, $4,300-ish was our average at the beginning of 2021. And then over the course of time, our average booking is now about $7,600.
Is that for both or
for both?
Just?
That's for both.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it's really just been a drastic increase where we've paid all the expenses that we get and we make more money. And honestly, we give a better product at the same time.
Yeah.
So all three, and that doesn't happen often.
No.
So being able to make that happen is really cool.
Right. And it's just kind of it fuels itself. It's just this brilliant cycle. Once you kind of start turning the wheel, is that you focus on quality, you can raise your prices, couples want to work with you, which give you the ability to pay for the expenses of working with incredible editors, editors who honestly, some of the videos, I'm I don't even know if I could have done that. So they've really helped elevate our brand overall by working with some of these talented folks. And it just kind of keeps spinning the wheel. And so we can kind of continue to raise. And even as we have our sights on 2023, we've booked our first 5-digit package for both photo and video. But even with that's an incredible milestone for us. That's something I've been working for a long time to get that first 5-digit package. And I think it's still just kind of, that wheel is just going to keep kind of growing the more that we do.
Yeah, it's so incredible, and I love hearing your story. And there's so much that you just shared that you have unpacked that I know that John and I have shared, over the 200 plus episodes of this podcast and stuff about how, when it comes to your branding, like, who do you want to work? Go where you think that your ideal client is, and look at, like, if you're really, really high end, like, go look at some of those high end retailers out there and what are they doing? If you, want to be, more adventurous, like, go look at like adventurous type, branding businesses, that sort of like that. That's great. And I love the advice. And this is something I heard early on is raise your prices every, 3, 4, 5 weddings. It doesn't have to be like, I'm $1,000 jump, but if you do like a couple $100 here,
Right.
$200 there, a couple $100 and $200 is the same amount of money. Like,
that's okay.
But that's okay,
best buddy.
Yeah. Do that kind of thing. And then, yeah, you're right. It's just like that thing that we've talked about a lot is, what came first? Was it your rebrand? Was it your films? Was it your website? Like what was it? And the answer is all of it. Like you don't know, yeah. You don't know what the one thing was. All you know is it's all working together. And now you basically double your prices last year. Now you're even, going up by, 25 or 30% into 2023. I'm sitting here yesterday. I sent the largest quote I have ever sent in my entire life. And that was, because you were talking about, we have 60 something weddings. And so now if something comes in, I can be a little bit more dangerous, quote unquote, in what I'm quoting because I'm good if I'm not. And that's kind of the position that I was in is like, we're booked. This is a really incredible, opportunity, but, I said we're booked up, what I'm saying for the year, but this is an incredible opportunity. So I'll just throw out a high number and the guy scheduled a phone call. So you never know what can happen whenever you're doing all this stuff together. Yeah. So your story is so inspiring to us. And, you say, yeah, we went, we made 350 in revenue last year and just it's credible. And you're already pushing to do even more, this upcoming year. And we want to hear more about you guys, maybe some of the risks that you've taken in your business and how those have paid off. And we will do that right after this break.
Nick and I have to tell you about one of our favorite places to upload our wedding films, and that is Love Stories TV. Love Stories TV is one of the best free resources for us wedding filmmakers. The best part is they are bringing the couples to us. All we have to do is upload our films and we are good to go. Upload unlimited wedding films to your completely free business page. Setup is easy and your films can be live in just minutes. Now is the perfect time to start uploading to Love Stories TV. So head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/lovestoriestv to check out all of the details and see how Love Stories TV is giving away $10,000 in cash to wedding filmmakers just like you. That's howtofilmweddings.com/lovestoriestv to start uploading and connecting with the right couples today.
One question that we see wedding filmmakers asking, what is the best site for licensing music? We have one answer, Musicbed. I have been exclusively using Musicbed since 2016 and our films are better because of it. I have been told during consultations that couples love our films because they feel raw, authentic, and that the music wasn't cheesy. Musicbed has a roster of incredibly talented musicians, bands, and composers who pour their hearts into their work and you can hear the difference. Find the perfect song with Musicbed's intuitive search features like genre, mood, beats per minute, and key, which is probably my favorite of the search parameters. Head over to howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed to do what I did and take your wedding films to the next level. Use promo code HTFW22 at checkout to receive 1 month free with the purchase of any annual subscription. That's howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed.
To have that website, you need, you could be charging way more. For what it's worth, your website is clean.
Thank you. I was a graphic designer for 7 years before I went full time with this. So
what's kind of funny too is the way we modeled our website. So we're foodies, right? We love food and all that. But we actually, one thing we do once a year is we go to a Michelin star restaurant and eat. Mm-hmm. That's like our Disney World, our vacation, whatever you want to call it for the year.
We like food.
And we actually modeled our website after the feeling and the experience that you get from going to a Michelin star restaurant.
That's awesome.
Because that's like the high, and that's what even like our brand coach, she was all like, once she heard that we love Michelin stars, she's like, hello.
Yep.
She's like, this is everything. Like, why are you not doing this already? She's like, hop to it. So
I think a lot of people think of brands as like just a look, right? Like I think that's what a lot of people see who might not be super into them, but you can even model your website after like a feeling or an experience too.
Yeah.
If you can really think about how that works, which I think is really cool. And that's what we tried to do.
yeah.
I think that the podcast is back and we're recording, and we tell Blake just to start it whenever I started talking to you a second ago, because I think what you just said was really cool. Nick, are you okay with that?
Yeah,
Like this
absolutely.
This is on the podcast right now? Yeah.
Blake, make it work.
Yeah, I
And
do
even
like,
leave this part in, Blake, where we're talking to you about to include this in the
so
podcast.
people, yes, so people can see how we really do it. But it's really true. You know, you say you love these Michelin star restaurants. Like I'm looking at your website, and it just oozes like this is an expensive experience. You know, this is like down to the fonts, the brand, the logo, all of this matters. And you could like you now, because you have the amount of bookings that you want. I want to rewind back to when you said we can kind of hold out for the bookings, like the ones that really fit our brand now. And that's kind of the power that you get whenever you have built a brand. Is like I got an inquiry for a wedding in Malibu, and it like was awesome, but their budget was under what I really wanted to get to go to Malibu. And like, I already have enough bookings, even though I want that booking. I didn't I didn't like lower my prices, and I was able to like hold off. And I know that another booking that'll be even better will come along, that sort of thing. So before our break, we were talking about all kinds of things, your story. I wanted to kind of ask you, so, you know, we were talking about the fact that you're making, I guess this year, going to be pushing 400,000 over that amount for your business. You're paying for outsourcing, you know, you're doing all these things, but like, what does the business look like when you do that? Do you do you just sleep in piles of cash at this point? Like what's life look like? What can be achieved if you do something like this? Maybe give the listeners a little peek behind the curtain.
Yeah. So I think, like I said, like 2021, it really pushed our schedules, and it pushed us to really develop systems so that we can have a life, right? When you do 73 weddings, and if you go into the mindset thinking like, oh my gosh, I have to edit all of them, like, I don't think I'll ever sleep again. The power of realizing that time is your most valuable asset, and then you can almost like double your income without doubling your hours, meaning like being able to rely and delegate on others and have them become team members for you. Because I remember listening to a Jasmine Star podcast last year, and I listened to an episode where she was talking about the effect of having valuable team members on your team, and the fact that once you have a team member that you bring on, they should help you gain revenue. They should help you gain more overall for your business. Because it's another, you know, it's more man hours towards your business. So that way it's like not necessarily me or Charles that has to, you know, have sleepless nights just to make sure that we're getting through everything. But what our life looks like now is that we've got systems in place, at least for the photo side of things. We can almost guarantee with the systems that we have that their galleries will be back in under a month. And the time that I work with them is maybe 8 hours or less for every wedding. And then even on the video side of things, now that we have Wedditor as our partner, you know, we're prepping and working with the files maybe for a week after their wedding day. And then we send it off to Wedditor. They do their magic sauce and do all the good stuff to it. And then it comes back, and it's that really efficient, timely manner. So that way we do get to have a life. We do get to kind of explore and adventure and do the things and kind of make sure that we have hobbies and make sure that there's a life worth living on the other side.
Yeah. And I mean, like a lot of what we do too, like, you know, as far as what it's allowed us to do, like, first of all, I have to say, like, it allows us to pay the people that we work with, like our second shooters. It allows us to pay them well and make them happy.
We can pay them what they're worth versus undercutting them and just kind of like scrapping, be like, I need help, but this is all I can give you.
Yeah. So we can pay them really well and make them happy and make them want to come work for us. And then it's allowed us to really kind of look into even other things like, you know, maybe investment properties, maybe, you know, things that we can continue to grow our brand and not just weddings. Like a dream that we have is to make a wedding venue. That's what we want to do one day. And who could make a better wedding venue than people who shoot at wedding venues all over the country, right? and make it perfect for exact like the way the building faces. Like there's so many things that you could do just with the knowledge that you've gotten. And I mean, those are things that we haven't done yet, but those are things that it's possible to do because we really we're very successful in the business in this area.
Yeah. So, and again, like the trade-off for being able to gross a little bit more for the business overall, we do have more expenses, but those are planned expenses at this point now because of the systems and the way that we've changed our pricing to be able to incorporate having those team members help us out. And so, I guess, like time has been the most valuable thing to us, and being able to get that back this year is really what we're excited about.
One of the things that I love that you have said over and over again, specifically talking about Wedditor, but you're like, there are partners. And while they aren't, I mean, obviously, they don't have a stake in, the Axtells and anything like that, but you kind of view it as that they're not, oh, that's my editor, kind of looking down at them or whatever, but you're like, we have partnered with them to do this thing so that we can do this thing. And, it doesn't have to be an editor, it could be a shooter, it could be a social media man, it could be anything, fill in the blank. But whenever you shift your mind as a business owner to, okay, I want to partner as best as I can with someone to help me grow the business that I have poured my life into, I think some really cool things and some really neat things can happen. And what it has caused, like you guys have jumped over this hurdle, and I know that this is such a big hurdle for so many of us.
Yeah.
Is like with the editing, like, no, that's my baby. That's my thing. I can't give that up. I can't do that. But actually, whenever you start running a business, instead of just being a creative outlet, when you start running a business, you're like, I can make money from this and also create really high quality work. You can realize I don't have to be the one to do everything, whether it's the editing, whether it's the shooting, whether it's fill in the blank. You don't necessarily have to be doing everything. And I appreciate how you're speaking about this stuff, because you guys, I think we're guaranteed with where you are financially, you're like, yes, we have been able to do so much more as a team with help than we could just the two of us.
Right. Yeah. And I think we even talk about this all the time. Like, if we were to do this just by ourselves, if we didn't have any other folks out there in the world helping us, like, we probably reached our cap like 20 weddings ago.
Yeah.
Like, we probably could just on our own do comfortably 40 weddings. 50 would like start to like really stress us out if it was just us that had to do it, the amount of time and effort. But there's something really beautiful about being able to trust and rely on people that are super talented. And I keep saying that just because I'm really blown away about how much they're working to make sure that we have something incredible, like a quality back, or make sure this, how they're helping us out is like the best that they can do. And it's like, if you pour into the people who are the rock stars around you, they will be rock stars for you, for your business. And that's been everything.
And one thing I have to say too is that like the footage that we got, I never thought that we would be able to create some of the videos that were created with us with our editors. I never thought I shot some of the ways that they were able to make it work. And I honestly have to say, like, it's like if you were to ever test something like that out, it's so worth it just to see what another person can do with your footage, because you can be like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, because that's what happened to us. We had fun videos, and in our area, there are not many videographers that do fun videos. They're the romantic, slower moving videos, and there's nothing wrong with those at all, because we even have parts of that in ours, but just to make them so fun and uplifting is what really sets us apart in our area.
Yeah. Like I said, like they've elevated us in a way that I don't think us putting our heads together could have come up in a year. And so it's truly that the value of having amazing team members that without them, I don't think we would be able to grow without bringing on other team members at this point. It's like we hit our peak. Now, if we want our business to maybe reach $500,000, maybe even $1 million one day, which is like an outlandish idea, but at the same time too, to have that big of a dream, we just got to bring on the right people to get there.
Whenever John and I started How to Film Weddings and we were talking about this idea, John was like, going back about like who's the intellectual property owner and who's the business owner and all that kind of stuff. And then one thing that he said to me was, Nick, I would much rather share a watermelon with you than have a whole grape to myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's the idea here that you guys have really come to fruition is we can make this so much bigger because we have all the help. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's something that I have learned from John. And okay, John, I need you to take because you just made me laugh. You say something.
Sorry. First of all, you were talking about fruit, and then you said fruition. I thought you were going to do a dad pun. You had a really good opportunity.
Oh man,
You said fruit. You could have said fruition. It would have been great.
Fruit.
But you're fruit. It just doesn't float. You were close there. But if you're watching on YouTube, you got to see me make Nick laugh by putting something up on the screen. I'll just leave it there. But one thing that like keeps coming back to my mind is like, I get asked this a lot, you know, as I'm now pretty long in the tooth, getting older. I'm 37, not nearly as old as Nick or anything, but people are like, what's the exit strategy? What can, like, your knees only work really well for so long? Are you going to be 60 and shooting weddings, or is your lower back, or like, just, you guys have built a business. And it's not just we want to make money business. And I think that's the stigma around volume is like, we just want to make money. Doesn't care. We'll just crank them out. We're going to lower the quality. But you're like raising the quality in your area, and you're just in general, while building something that's sustainable, that if you need to push pause, you need to take, like, and this is what I've said to people a lot. I think I even said it to Charles out in Arizona, is like, if I weren't doing how to film weddings, like, I would be doing exactly what you're doing, because it's like, I love interacting with the couples. I love shooting. I love the relationships. I don't love editing. I love directing and being the creative director of the edit and saying, ooh, what if we try this? No, I don't like that. I enjoy all that. And so it's like finding this thing that you enjoy, but also creating something that's actually sustainable long-term. Like, you could shoot, you're training people to shoot, and like, it's growing to something to where if something happened to one of you, you know, it would keep going. Or if you guys both decided we're just going to let this thing go, you're still overseeing quality. And I just think that's really important for people to think about whenever, you know, a lot of people start filming weddings and they're, you know, younger or early 20s or whatever, and they're like, I'll just always do this, and they don't have a plan. And this is a good option for something like that. I want to switch gears just real fast to the role of education. It's from when I first met you all, like, you guys were like very involved in the How to Film Weddings group, and very just like part of, you know, education. You were always, you know, you said you hired a brand coach, you said you listened to Jasmine Starr, like education. So I guess my question to you was, when did you start to really think through, or when did you really start to have education be a big part of your brand? What did that look like? What was the role of education for you all?
Yeah. And so I think it was around 2020, the end of 2020, when we were kind of sitting in the house and, you know, hoping weddings were coming back. We really were looking into ways just to kind of figure out how to be better. Because I think, you know, quality has always been one thing that is so important to us. And, you know, we kind of talked about Michelin star restaurants for a second, but like, the quality of that food, it never fades. It always gets better. And it's always mind blowing just to see how much they can raise and take it to the next level, and just like, you know, supersede what they did the year before. And so for us, it's never been a question that where it's like, okay, we're doing well enough. Let's stop here and, you know, not see where we can take it next. I think for us, it's the opposite. It's like, we want to see what else we can do. We want to push ourselves. We want to really go out and try to find the things that inspire us, and the things that are teaching us new skills that we don't necessarily know. So education was one of the things that we looked into around 2020, just to kind of fill a time. But then it became this like focus for us to figure out how to become better with our videos. Because I think even for us, when we were looking at what we were producing, they were great videos. They were good, they were great, but they weren't anything that I think went to the Michelin star level of like wedding videography that we were seeing from, you know, people like the speakers in Mastermind, or people that we look to for inspiration all the time. Like, I always found myself watching Light and Reverie or Le Rev, or I have Nick's films on all the time, just to kind of help us, you know, inspire us as we were going. And then it just kind of clicked at that point. Well, shoot, like, we have opportunities to learn and to talk to and get to know or learn the ways that we could be better. And then it just kind of went from there. And so it's always about this pursuit of being better than we were the day before and figuring out the other ways that we could do that.
And I think one thing too is that when we started this whole thing, I didn't know what I didn't know. And I mean that too. Like when this whole education thing started, I'm like, man, I'm good at this. Like I know what I'm doing. I can put a lapel mic on somebody and I know how to get good audio. I know how to light a ceremony or light a reception and things like that. And it's just like, I just thought I knew it because I'm like, I'll just put the light right on them. I did that for, a couple weddings right after we got everything. And then I started to really think about it. I'm like, hey, I actually don't really know what I'm doing. Like that's what it came down to. And to be able to really kind of learn all of this stuff and become better and have the quality of everything increase so much. Like even like sound design, like everything, like things I never really considered as being that important. And it's just that education really helped me realize what I need to work on.
One of the things as you guys are talking, Stephanie, you were talking about, like we're always trying to like elevate the next day. Like we're always trying to do more. We're always trying to be better. And I think that in our industry, I have seen this a lot in kind of all across creative fields, right? Is you have people that have in their mind have quote unquote made it. Like they have worked hard for 3, 4, 5 years. They get to the top, they've made it. And then I've made it. So I stop. Right. And they don't invest in themselves anymore. They don't push themselves, creatively, in whatever. And then like 2 or 3 years later, you're like, hey, where did so-and-so go? Like, I know they're still doing this, but it's because they haven't, invested back in themselves. And so I guess I want to shift, as we're kind of wrapping things up, shift a little bit, into talking about Mastermind and your experience with that. Because you guys were, definitely, on some level before it's, you were like, hey, we've kind of made it, like we're doing good and all that kind of stuff. So what was it about Mastermind when you saw it that you decided to sign up, that you, that could help you? What was it about that?
I think that at first it was really just seeing, so honestly, it was the quality of your guys' films and the things that you guys put out and me not knowing how to really do that as well. And I really wanted to just kind of see, honestly, what I could pick up on at first. Yeah. And then it really just kind of just after the first couple meetings and like, how you have a bad day sometimes and it's, you don't really have a support group because it's hard to make friends in at least for us, it's hard to make friends with people that you're competing with all the time, so being able to join Mastermind and have the creative group that we are, and we can all be friends and be friendly together and have that support when you have an issue or a question and you can put it on the Facebook group. Like, it's just been really, really like a supportive, really nice thing when there are difficult times that you run across.
Yeah. And for me, like when I saw Mastermind and I kept like poking Charles, I'm like, hey, what do you think? Hey, like, I think this is something that we should do. Like, yes, it was an investment, but at the same time too, what we got out of it was 7 times more than we ever thought we were. Cause like we came into it really wanting to learn how to be better creatively. I think we were just trying to look for a way or a resource to help us raise the quality of our videos, because that was the number one thing that we wanted to do. We just wanted to be better filmmakers and better storytellers. But then what we got out of it is what literally I think saved our business this year and helped us become that kind of high volume boutique business hybrid that we are now, is the fact that if you are able to build systems and put these systems into play, not only can you raise the quality, but you can raise the quality for your couples. You can raise the quality of your life too. And that's really just become the biggest takeaway we could have ever gotten out of Mastermind, is like learning these systems, learning that you don't have to do it alone. You can rely on others, and really treating everybody as like your teammates and treating everybody like it is a community. It is kind of a team effort sometimes, and even relying on, friends that we've made in Mastermind. I remember even friends, Shore and Summit, they came up and they helped us film the wedding, kind of on a not a whim, but like it was a pretty quick booking. Yeah. Their wedding was a couple of months away, and I knew that it was a really big event, and so we were going to need some really trusted videographers to help us out with that. So they hopped on board, they came up, they did an incredible job, and it's just amazing when you have a community like that to rely on, because there's nothing like that.
No. Like
not even in the photography communities.
Nope. Like a lot of it is just like, it's kind of smaller groups and things, and it's like questions. But I mean, the thing is like, I've never seen like a negative thing ever really in any of the chats. And I know when you go online to some of these like bigger groups, especially photography groups, sometimes they can be negative, and and it's just really nice to kind of see that everything is so supportive and uplifting, and it's just positive ideas is really the only thing that I've ever seen.
In Mastermind, not only are you learning from people that inspire you, but you're learning from your peers, and they're teaching you things that you didn't know, and they're teaching you how to be better and teaching you how to grow.
Yes.
And it's just like what he said, it's like you don't know what you don't know. And once you've kind of like have your eyes open, you're like, holy cow.
There was a lot I didn't know.
Well, but there was so much room for growth when we already thought we were close to the peak.
Yeah.
And now we're here.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, that's really good. And, you know, it's all been an incredible experience, you know, from our end, and seeing you guys and all this stuff, you know, that we've talked about that we didn't know. You know, we're not, you know, we're not making people, you know, pay to be a part of an exclusive group or, you know, this community or anything like that.
Right.
You know, like it's an education platform, right? Like we are, you are learning, and like that's the thing. And then our retreat, that's the stuff, you know, that you know why there is, you know, the investment in it, but you know the group and the community and the connection, that like that's just something that was able to happen because everyone is in the same boat and doing this education, you know, process together. And so it's so cool to see like you guys grow. And there's so many students, you know, from this past year that have just grown. And, you know, so many times, John, we're reading, you know, people like, I just booked my highest wedding ever. You know, I'm making more money. You know, I think it was you guys that you said that you had like a $50,000 month, or, you know, something. Something ridiculous that you're just like, what? How did that happen? You know? And so seeing the growth and then the support from everyone, it's just been such an incredible experience. So I'm sure since we've built up, you know, you guys talking about your Michelin star website and your look and your feel and all that kind of stuff, where can people find you, you know, to see your films, check out your website, be inspired by you guys?
Yeah, and so if you ever wanted to check out what we're up to or what we're doing, our website is theaxtellsphotofilm.com. And then, of course, we're on Instagram and we're on YouTube as well.
And TikTok.
And TikTok. And we're, you just pretty much have to just search The Axtells. And I think we're one of the first couple to pop up, if not the first one, just because I think nobody really has our name that's on social media. So, which is a good advantage to have. But yeah, we're trying to be active all across social media. We're definitely active with photography. We're active with videography now. And it's just kind of like, it's just really cool where we're at this year. I can't emphasize that enough. Like I joke with him all the time. I think we grew 5 times more just in this 1 year than we grew in total over the last 5 years.
You know, it's one other thing I have to say too. It's like, I know what the investment for like Mastermind as well, like what we actually paid for that. I know that what we kind of gain from it, we make what we paid in one wedding now. The difference between our, you know, 2021 and our now, like our book, it pays for itself with one booking at this point, you know. And I just wanted to say that because it's really cool.
Yeah, it's been one of the best things what we've done.
Well, it's cool to like. I mean, I know you guys, you know, like expressed your thankfulness to us, but you guys are the ones that did the work. You're the ones that made the investment. You took the risk on your business. You have the mindset. You're getting the education. You're doing things, and it's so fun to watch so many Mastermind students, you know, continue to grow. Even after you've finished your year, and now as we're welcoming more people into next year's group, and it's like we're in this transition between the founding members and then our second class. So it's just really cool to see the success. And I know that you guys you think you're up, that you're just going to keep going up the mountain. That's pretty cool to see. So anything else that you guys would want to say to the How to Film Weddings community before we hop off today?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like, I hope everybody kind of looks at where you're at in your business and realize there's always room to grow, and there's always potential to kind of find the ways and find the systems to put into your business to kind of, you know, raise either the quality of your work or raise the quality of your life. Because that's been the one thing that, like, if you don't ever stop pursuing that quality or kind of raising the bar for yourself, it's just like you just don't know what the potential is. And I think for us, it's like I remember when I first looked at him and I first bought, you know, I bought the first $2,000 camera. I was like, nobody's going to want anything. Nobody's going to buy anything from us. They don't want photos. They don't want videos. And now here we are in our like third year of being in 6 digits of revenue, which is just like, it's amazing that we're here.
I thought we would be here. She told me that she never thought that we would be here, but I had a feeling when this thing started that we'd be here. So
yeah,
That's
so just
great.
always don't ever underestimate yourself and just kind of keep raising the bar. So even when you raise the bar, it raises the bar for everybody else in your community. So that way they can jump over it and you can just kind of keep walking it up from there, because it's almost like that constructive competition. So it's just go after it.
I love it. I love all of it. Well, thank you guys so much for being on the podcast today.
Yeah, thank you so much
Yeah,
for having
thank
us.
you guys.
This is so fun.
yeah, it was.
Well, Stephanie and Charles, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. As we drop this episode, applications for Mastermind are still open. If you are on the fence and you're not sure, apply. Just apply. Fill out the form, and you never know what can happen. This could be the thing that is drastically going to change your business and change your life. So if you would like to apply, head over to howtofilmweddings.com/mastermind. That is howtofilmweddings.com/mastermind. John, as always, it's been a pleasure to hang out with you. And until next time, we'll see ya.
See ya. Are you looking for a better way to deliver your wedding films to your couples? Look no further. Our friends over at WedFlow provide the most flexible video delivery solution on the market. WedFlow is pay per project with no large upfront cost or commitment, and you can cancel anytime. Not only that, WedFlow offers a premium viewing experience for your couples, accessible on mobile, tablet, desktop, as well as their very own suite of TV apps. Each project comes with 10 years hosting and an experience for your clients that will blow them away. Stop delivering your films the old-fashioned way and give your couples something to rave about. Head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/wedflow to check out WedFlow today.